What is up, Surgeaholic Sooner Nation? Welcome to the Sooner Surge, the podcast that tells it like it is. Make sure you hit the like, you comment on this video because we want your college football playoff predictions as we're set to go today with the first one of this 4-game set, guys. And we'll just start right there, guys, because the first one is Boise State and Ashton Jeanty against Penn State Nittany Lions. I'll let you guys start.
Yeah, Penn State, the question is always, can James Franklin win a big one? He did a week and a half ago at home against SMU, given it's SMU, but I think that's enough for Penn State to, for the time being, kind of get that thought of, okay, we can win a big game, and they're going to. I think they beat Boise State. Ashton Jeanty, Boise, great story, all that, but I like the Penn State defense. The Nittany Lions have been a great defensive team, and I think Drew Aller is going to put enough together with that 1-2 punch in the backfield as well between Allen and Singleton. Give me Penn State.
Yeah, I'm with you, Hunter, on Penn State. I've been a naysayer of Penn State for years, and you brought up last week's game. That game didn't do a whole lot for me. I think more about the Big Ten championship game when they put it on Oregon as far as points wise, and that's the difference between Penn State this year and years before. Is I think their offense is decent enough that they're going to score some points, specifically against Boise State. I think they get the win. I do, Hunter. I agree with you on that pick.
I've been a Penn State naysayer for years, guys. I'm going to continue to be one. Look, SMU last week had massive turnovers in that game. Boise State has gone up against a better offense than Penn State because they played Oregon this year. Boise State is going to control this game.
Hey, just a sec. They both played Oregon.
Yeah, I'm saying Boise State has gone up against a good offense, Hunter.
Okay. Right.
Okay. I don't understand
his tracks, Hunter. Stopped him in his tracks.
Yeah, and Penn State.
Germ started to stutter.
You made me lose my train of thought, but for what you said earlier about Penn State, you can't be more wrong. And that's with, he did win the big game. I agree. He won the big one against SMU. But the fact of the matter is, Penn State has not seen an Ashton Jeanty. And you talked about, Hunter, you said Penn State's defense has been really good. They have. They weren't very good against a prolific offense because Oregon went to work on them. So I think this game, Penn State struggles. I got Boise State, guys. I got Boise State upsetting the Nittany Lions, and that's something I've called for a while, and I think it's going to happen. Let's move on to the next one. The first one on New Year's Day, guys. First game out of the chute. It's the Texas Longhorns versus the Arizona State Devils. Who you got?
I got Texas. I think it's going to be a great game. Big Kenny Dillingham fan. I like what he's doing at Arizona State. Again, Texas, I think, is just the better team. And I think you're going to see that in the trenches more than anything. Is this is an SEC team with an offensive line, defensive line, hopefully like expecting them to get their guys back, Banks healthy, Bond potentially going to play. That's going to help a lot. And Scatterboo, I think Arizona State is going to keep this close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any stretch, but I think Texas holds on just because of what they have in the trenches that Arizona State does not.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again, Hunter. I'm going Texas. I know a lot of you guys know if you watch, I'm going Texas, Notre Dame in the championship. So I'm sticking with Texas. Texas, to me, the trenches, the difference between, and I know Texas has not, everyone says what Texas hasn't. Who's Texas played in the SEC? They didn't play a whole lot of people. Well, Texas is still a really good team. I know you can't take it off just who they played because they are a really good team. They just are. They have offense, they have defense. And I think Scatterboo, I know he's a really great runner. And I think it's going to be close to Hunter. I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means by Texas. But I think Texas is going to get the job done. I also think you got experience. They were just in this last year of the 14 playoff, okay? And that matters. That matters in these things to me. To me, it does.
Look, I know right before we got on here, I said I was picking Arizona State.
You changed your mind?
And the Sun Devils. Scatterboo, to me, is a difference maker. I'll say this. If they cannot stop Scatterboo, it's going to be a very long day. For Texas. Now, I do think in the trenches, like you guys say, Texas should dominate that. I think this comes down to if Quinn Ewers turns the ball over, because he's been turnover prone in some of these games. I'm going to look. I really want to pick Arizona State. I really do. And going into this, I thought I was, but
We changed your mind.
I'm going to say that because of the
Wow.
experience. I'll say this, though, guys. Dillingham and Arizona State, the Sun Devils, there is no chance they're going to come out of the tunnel intimidated by Texas. This team is not going to be intimidated. I got Texas in a close one because the kicker, okay? Good kicking game. Let's go to the next one, which is the Rose Bowl, afternoon, New Year's Day. Ohio State's going to be wearing the Rose Bowl pinstripe down the middle helmet. Oregon Ducks versus Ohio State. And this is a Rose Bowl matchup of Pac-12, former Pac-12 versus Big Ten. Now they're both in the Big Ten, but it's a granddaddy of them all, as they might say.
Yeah, great uniforms, by the way, for Ohio State. Love that Rose Bowl theme. And Oregon, as always, they're going to have great uniforms. So phenomenal uniform matchup. These teams played back in October. Oregon won by 1 in that one in Autzen Stadium. But give me the Ducks again. Dylan Gabriel is on a mission. They're the number 1 team in the country, and they have been for most of the year. I think they beat Ohio State because, again, I am still not believing in Will Howard and Ryan Day able to win. I know they blew out Tennessee, but I'm still not buying the hype. Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but give me the Ducks.
Hunter, I've agreed with you about the first two. I'm going to disagree with you here. And Ohio State had that blemish against Michigan. A lot of people, including me, if you guys don't, if you remember, 2 weeks before the Michigan game, I had Ohio State Notre Dame in the final game. And after the Michigan game, I said I can't pick Ohio State. Well, I think Ohio State's flushed that, and I think Ryan Day is way better at coaching as an underdog. I think when they're picked, like against Michigan, expected to win, I don't think they're as good. I think he's better in this type of game, and I also think they played Oregon really good last time in Oregon. They could have very easily won the game. You got an Oregon team, and I know Will Howard has not been in a playoff situation. Okay, I get it. He was last week, though, in Tennessee. Dylan Gabriel has never been in a playoff. And I think Dylan Gabriel will have a good game. But it's not going to be enough to beat Ohio State. Ohio State's going to win this game. And Oregon's going to suffer their first loss.
I'm not a Ryan Day believer either, guys. But first off, no one needs extra motivation. I think they have maybe a little extra because of how they lost at Oregon. But the way you beat Oregon, guys, is Ohio State's DBs are going to have to play bump on the – they're going to have to get tight coverage because Oregon will kill you throwing short pass and getting yacked. And that's where Dylan Gabriel wants to. He doesn't want to have to look off. I mean, when they're rolling, they're hitting quick pass and moving right down the field. So I think Ohio State's got to play bump. I'm not a totally Will Howard believer either, but I'm picking Ohio State in this game a lot because of the revenge factor and the fact that they're the underdog. Rarely does a team go number one. Rarely does a team go number one all year. And Oregon's been number 1 ranked for a long time. That's rare. Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah, real quick. Ohio State is favored in this game.
They are, but they're
favored.
Their players don't think they're favored. That's
Hunter. They might be favored Vegas-wise, but nationally, I think, and not by Vegas numbers, I'm just saying that the media, a lot of people are thinking this is a underdog game for Ryan Day.
I think it's fairly split down the middle.
It's pretty. It's a pick 'em.
Yeah.
And guys, the other pick 'em, and you got the nightcap of the triple header on New Year's Day. It's the Georgia Bulldogs versus the Fighting Irish. And guys, this is one of these classic games, matchups that people probably, if you'd have said, now, of course, I'm not a huge Notre Dame guy, but if you would have said, give me 2 teams on New Year's night that you'd like to see go up against each other, Georgia and Notre Dame would be there, especially anyone who loves college football. But this is going to be a good nightcap, guys. Who you got?
I got Notre Dame. I have Notre Dame going to the national championship. Their defense is lights out. Marcus Freeman has done a phenomenal job for the Irish, figuring out this defense, taking them to a whole nother level. Then you look at the running game for Notre Dame between Love, Price, Riley Leonard as well. They're going to be able to run the football against a very good Georgia defense. Then on the flip side for Georgia, no Carson Beck. Don't think he's that great, but Gunnar Stockton, he did get the job done in the SEC championship, able to hold on in that one and get the win for the Bulldogs. But I think with this Notre Dame defense, a massive moment for Stockton to be thrown into as the starter for the remainder of the year. I think Notre Dame is going to win this one, and maybe, but I think they win by 10. I think Notre Dame wins this game by 10 because of just how good their defense is and how they're able to run the football.
I agree with you, Hunter. I'm going Notre Dame. I, again, got them in my national championship game, and I've heard a lot of people over the last few weeks say Notre Dame. Riley Leonard, the quarterback. Riley Leonard is perfectly capable. He's a good quarterback, and you can say, well, he's a manager of the game. That's fine. Look at the quarterbacks left in this thing. Who would you say is just a dynamic quarterback? What?
They're all game managers.
Well, they're all good quarterbacks, Jer. You can say game manager. I hate that term, game managers. They're good quarterbacks. They're good quality quarterbacks, and so is Riley Leonard. Now, Hunter, you mentioned it, the defense. Their defense is really good, and they're physical up front. I think they have what they haven't had when you look back at when they made the playoffs in the 4-team playoff, and they would get rolled. They're different than they were then. So I like Notre Dame a lot, and I think this could be their year, guys. I just think they're really talented. And if you look at it offensively and defensively, they're highly ranked in college football. And that's usually a recipe for success. And I know Freeman's a young coach, but he just seems to have them ready. I think Notre Dame's going to win this game.
I think it's going to be a great Sugar Bowl where the experience, where there's a mismatch, in my opinion. And I'm not bashing Marcus Freeman, but it's a mismatch as far as experience in big games. Kirby Smart owns that experience. So you can't deny that, but they do lack what they haven't experienced there. They lack an experience at the biggest position, which is quarterback. And hey, Riley Leonard and Love, those guys are going to present nightmare problems for Georgia because Georgia Tech was able to just pound the ball with quarterback and running game. And you're going to get a little bit of a dose of that. Where Georgia kind of shined was against more of a pro-style team that could pass and run, and that's in Texas. So I think this running style is going to affect Georgia. I also have the Fighting Irish in this game.
Hey, question for you guys. This is just off the cuff here. I just thought about it, but name a quarterback in their first start to be in a playoff game. I mean, I know everybody's saying, well, he's really good. Players love him. This is his first start.
Tua.
I mean, what?
Tua.
He didn't start that
he
game.
Started in the national championship game.
No, he didn't.
No, he came in late.
I thought he came in the SEC title game and then came in the championship. That's right. You're right. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of. I don't know of one guys that entered the playoff as a first start of their career. I just can't think of one.
I don't think there has been. It's only been 10 years, but I do not think there has been.
And I know you hear it. He's waited for his chance. This is his chance. But that's easier said than done. He might go out there and dominate. I don't know. I find that hard to believe against Notre Dame's defense.
College football fans, drop it in the comments. Give us your 4 picks of the bowl games that start tonight and then tomorrow. The 4-game set. Going to be fun watching all these guys and then talking about them afterwards. Great slate of football ahead of us. Make sure you subscribe to our channel here. You like and comment on this video. And we will catch you next time, college football fans.